Hey everybody, today I'm going to go over my top 5 picks as far as things that you should not buy from Sears this holiday season. These are complete gimmicks and I went in there and wasted about $100 on them tonight. And what you're going to see are things that might look innovative, but in reality they are going to break on you very quickly or they're going to have a lot of problems. Now let's say you don't want tools, but you're buying them for somebody else. These are gifts that are either going to just sit in a junk drawer or never going to get used because, like I said, they are not going to perform like a typical tool would, even though they might look innovative. Now, what I'd like for you to do is leave a comment below this video and let me know if you agree with my top 5 picks as far as their worst tools that are offered. Or maybe you have other tools that you don't like more. Leave those below. Let people know about your experience with them and really help save them from making a bad purchase. They can take that same money, buy a different tool that's going to perform a lot better, and whoever they give it to, or even if they're using it themselves, they will have a lot better experience. Now, along with that, I will be doing a follow-up video to this with my top 5 good buys at Sears, and I actually made 2 different purchases. The 5 tools in this bag are completely horrible. You do not want to spend your money on them, but I will do a follow-up video showing you 5 tools that are a good deal and you should buy. Starting out with number 5 would be the model number 927319 8-inch adjustable wrench, which is part of their Mach series of tools. This was $16.99 off the shelf, and out of the 3 of them that were for sale, this was the only one that wasn't damaged and already locked up, meaning out of the 3, this is the only one that was still working correctly. What they want this to replace is a standard adjustable wrench like this that you can easily adjust by rolling the screw at the top to open or shut it. Now this design is time proven, it's lasted for many decades, and people use this on a daily basis without any issues. And really the worst thing you have to do is occasionally oil this or maybe knock some dirt out of it. When we take a look at the new Mach series, the handle on this is hollow. And if we notice the little access plate, it is going to be open, which means it's not going to seal out any of that dust or debris. When that gets inside of here, it's going to jam the mechanism. And even though you can slide it up and down to open and shut that jaw, as soon as something falls in there, that is going to lock up on you and it's going to make the tool completely useless. Number 4 would be the model number 913272 10-inch locking adjustable wrench, which is part of their Extreme Grip series. This was in the front on one of their big displays and I paid $19.99 for it. They had multiple sizes available, a smaller version as well as this larger version. However, the operation will be exactly the same between them. The idea with the new version is to replace an adjustable wrench as well as a set of vice grips in one tool. The problem is these are designed to do 2 different things, where a pair of vice grips would normally be used to remove a damaged fastener, and this would be used to install or remove a fastener without damaging it. On the left, we'll see a standard adjustable wrench that has perfectly smooth jaws. And let's say you're dealing with a brass fitting, that's not going to mar the surface and is not going to damage it. When we look at the Craftsman, it has serrated jaws. And even though they are completely flat, when this clamps down on something or you're installing or removing it, those teeth will leave impressions, damaging your fastener. When we look at a pair of vice grips next to the Craftsman, both of them do have serrated jaws on both the top and the bottom, but the vice grip would be a lot more effective at removing a damaged fastener, such as a rounded off bolt, because those jaws do have a curve to them. That would allow for multiple points of contact all the way around the fastener, and when it clamps in, it's not going to round it off any worse. When we look at the Craftsman, because it only has 2 points of contact, if you're dealing with something that is damaged, this would round it off worse, which would make removing it even harder. Now also remember that the teeth on a pair of vice grips are a lot larger, allowing it to bite in and really give you a great grip, where the Craftsman has very fine teeth, and other than marring the surface of a fastener, it really does not serve any function. Number 3 would be the model number 950845 Flex Claw Hammer. This was $19.99 off the shelf, and it really is designed to replace not only a hammer, but also an indexable pry bar. Now the main issue with this, other than only having 4 possible positions, is the fact that there's no way to physically hit the tool without damaging it to drive that in underneath of something or maybe pry something out. With a traditional pry bar, we can see just how much I've beat on this with a hammer over the years. And let's say I wanted to drive it in underneath a piece of baseboard, I could do that. And because the end is extremely thin, it would go completely underneath of the board and wouldn't get stuck. And along with that, because I have a lot of leverage, I could then put force down on it, popping the baseboard up or maybe prying a nail up, and these work exceptionally well. When we look at the Craftsman, let's say I wanted to put that underneath a piece of baseboard. I would rotate that forward. The head on it is going to be very large, so it couldn't really extend underneath very far. And because the end of the unit is going to be made out of rubber, if I hit that, I will damage it. Other than just forcing it in there by hand, which would not drive it in very far, this is not going to be able to remove nails or pry things up very easily because the head does have that inferior design. Along with that, because it does have the rubber grip, if you hammer on the end of here, it would count as abuse and most likely would not be covered by your warranty if you had a problem later on down the road. Number 2 would be the model number 950846 12-inch breaker wrench, which is also part of the Extreme Grip series. Now this was $19.99 on the shelf, and they claim that it has up to 13 times more gripping power for rounded off fasteners. However, with the display, they had one of these with a rounded off fastener, and it did not work in the store. The idea behind this is to have a tool that will engage not only a hex fastener, such as a nut or a bolt, but also round things like this black pipe. Now let's say this was threaded on the end, and I was running some gas lines. I could use this theoretically to tighten this into the fitting, removing my need for a pipe wrench. However, with this particular unit, when it slips over the pipe, you can see I can rotate it on here and it doesn't want to catch. In order to get it to catch, I have to hold on the top jaw, then press down on the handle to lock it in place. And if you're doing a repetitive motion, it really takes 2 hands, with one of those being on the top of the unit, to even get the thing to work. I cannot get it to work consistently, and it only works in the tightening direction. You could not use this to loosen a pipe unless you turn it completely around, and if there is an obstruction underneath, it's not going to work for you. And the number 1 biggest gimmick this year would be the model number 919349 Autoloading Ratcheting Bit Driver Set, which is a 12-in-1 model. It has the bit driver along with 12 bits, and this costs $14.99 off the shelf. The construction of this is going to be made almost completely out of plastic, and as far as the handle goes and then the top of the unit, there's no metal connecting them. This portion is going to be completely plastic, and that's going to be your little bit storage area. To change the bits, you would pull the handle back, pulling a rod down through the center of the unit, and then retracting the bit inside of this. You could then rotate it, press it forward, and a different bit's going to come out the end. And you can also remove that completely and take the different magazine and then install it in there if you need a different size. Now what you want to note, there's absolutely no metal attaching the base to the top of the unit, and the ratcheting mechanism is going to be completely in this upper housing. If we notice, the directional change switch is going to be made out of plastic, and this is really one of the only parts that is metal. That's going to be the part that the rod extends into and your bit's going to be held in place by. But as far as torquing something down and putting much pressure on it, because the entire unit is going to be made out of plastic, it's going to be extremely likely to break on you. So now you've seen my top 5 picks for the worst tools at Sears this holiday season. Now I wasted almost $100 on these, so you don't have to, and I would not suggest that you pick up any of these because they are going to give you very poor performance, or they will end up breaking on you. Now my question is, do you agree with my top 5 picks, or do you actually know of things they sell that are worse than these? Leave a comment below this video and let everybody know about it, and help save other people from wasting their money. Now I will be following up this video with another top 5 based on Sears, and we're going to feature 5 tools that are actually good, which you should spend your money on. Stay tuned for that because we will be putting it up in a couple days, and if you're in the market for some tools, now will be the time to buy them. If you like this video, please click like. If you like my channel, please click subscribe. And thanks for watching.